Folks, Pastor Chuck Blair, great to have you joining me this morning. And today we're looking at a beautiful concept that's been part of the Christian message for quite a while. It's this idea of deep time. And it's different than our normal sort of chronological view of time. The time kind of like skates on this thin layer. And right now it's 8:30, and 1 minute it's going to be 8:31. This is, instead of looking at time like that, it looks like time like this. So here we take a moment, and that moment has this incredible depth and meaning to it. And that gets us closer to this idea of deep time and what deep time is. And it's for me, actually, I find it a very comforting concept. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So where we're picking up the story today with our biblical commentary is Noah now is starting to load the animals on the ark. And it's interesting, folks, right? Like, the Bible was not, these old stories were designed to be poetic. They were not, it's hard to see them as literal, because you have one commandment saying they're being brought in by pairs, and now there's another commandment saying they'll be brought in sevens. And when you look at like little kids stories or little toys, they're always with the pair, and here's a bunch where there's bunches of seven. So, and it's not a problem. I think it's talking about different things here. So that's what we're picking up today. This line from Genesis 7, verse 2. Of every clean animal, you are to take yourself seven each, a man and his wife, and if the animal is not clean, two each, a man and his wife. So those little packs of seven. And what's significant there, folks, is the idea that it's bringing in both emotions. It's bringing in both the positive and the negative. There's an idea, right, that we tend to think of the human experience or our own experience like it's one. How's your day? Good or bad? Right? And we want to pick. We break it into a binary, and we come up with like the answer. Or here's this particular life situation. Is it good? Is it bad? And the reality is, we're made up of parts. We're made up of all kinds of parts, different experiences. Part of us can be deeply unsettled by something and at the same time feel great peace as well. And that's always kind of interesting to me to watch and to see how that works. And that, folks, speaks to deep time, that there are these times of life where we just kind of hold things, and it's going down in a column, and we're kind of trying to learn to hold it all. And it's not even, I'm saying that's wrong. we can't really hold it all. This is God's work, not ours. And that's where we just have to be so clear. Like, God, I just can't. You can. I'm asking. We talk a lot about that idea of, surrender, that idea of God, this is way beyond anything I can handle, and my little brain just cannot do it. And I'm turning it over to you. Like just, whatever it is, like, work through me as best as possible, as best I can allow at this time. And that's kind of the back end of deep time. Like, when we're really living in that deep time, we're able to live in this really in a time that has many, many contradictions to it and many paradoxes. And as famously said, we will come, I think, in life to actually trust the paradoxes, that we are strong when we are weak, and is a famous one from the Christian tradition. We're strong when we're weak. That in that surrender, we start to really find stuff. So just, I don't know how many of you are in deep time today. Probably not everyone. I certainly hope not everyone. But if you are, take a little comfort there. And just, granted, it's a little crazy to talk to somebody who's in that deep time to find comfort, because it ain't easy. It doesn't come easily. It's a real challenge. And yet there is some comfort in just like, oh yeah, there is deep time. There is a much bigger picture than what I can imagine going on here. Much, much better than I can ever foresee. And that again keeps on coming back, holding out for the Easter story of death, waiting, resurrection. That those three are always at play: death, waiting, resurrection. That repeat pattern, so important. The pattern that Jesus lived and lived through. And it just, we don't live through it in that same way, obviously, but we can get hints about how life does work, in those processes. And it's interesting, I'll close with this. It's interesting watching with deep time. When we're in deep time, a lot of the time, A, we're not aware of it. And B, we're just doing our best to survive. Literally, survival instinct kicks in, and we, as a friend of mine said, even if you're just treading water, that beats the alternative. And then the C part is that I've seen many times with people is they look back at these times with a lot of treasure. They look back at these times with a lot of, there were things that I learned there. There was places in this deep time that were very meaningful to my life. Notice I didn't say perfect, very meaningful to my life 5, 10, 15 years down the road. So hold on to that, my friends. That's the thought for today. So just be thinking about deep time and how that might show up for you. And remember, like, here's God saying, the ark is we're loading up, getting ready for a storm. You're going to see both. You're going to have both emotions, and they're in equal measure. Boy, and that is welcome to life, right, friends? Welcome to life. All right, let us get a big breath. And a bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, bring you home. Amen. Oh, man, it feels so good to say a prayer with folks. All right, dear friends, let's take a look at any commentary we might have. And just FYI for anyone who's joining us for the first time, is that I do look at comments, and oftentimes we get them much later in the week, and that's totally fine if you're watching archived. And we also get a few people who consistently join us live. That's our little morning group, and you're welcome to offer a comment live, and we do that off of Facebook Live. So let us take a look here. And good morning to you, my dear friend, and thank you for the very, very nice text last week. Betty, I so needed this today. I just read the heavy stuff. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Betty, that is really well said. First three steps in shorthand: I can't, God can, let God. Yeah, and so I love just I went to a 12-step meeting years ago, and it was just a handful of people, and it was like that was exactly what I was supposed to do. I can't, you can, God, and I'm asking, and I just found that really, really helpful. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Martha, good morning to you. Hope life is going great. Sherry, good morning. And I'm trying to hang out with that wonderful son of yours shortly. Surrender. Yeah, there can be peace in that. It's interesting how it's hard to imagine that there can be peace without that. That's an interesting point there, Paige. Thank you for that. Sherry writes, good morning. One day, one moment at a time. And that when you really do get anxious, folks, that simple idea of like, just do the next right thing. I mean, there's something I'm sure we'll spend a whole 10 minutes of morning calm on, but just keeping it that, yeah. And Martha writes, I'm in shallow time right now, enjoying the lightness. It's temporary, I know. Oh, Martha, that's beautiful. And if you are, you don't feel guilty. Sometimes people can be in a shallow time and they're having a great old time. And I'm telling you, like, have a great old time. Like, we don't all need to be in deep time at all. And I remember sort of feeling like, oh man, I'm enjoying life a little bit too much right now. This is a little awkward. Well, as Brene Brown, again, another 10 minutes of morning calm we'll have to look at. She referred to that as foreboding joy, where we're feeling joy, but there's a sense of foreboding to it. So don't. I mean, the whole point is joy and living into joy and eventually capturing a joy that is beyond what we can ever imagine, which is the joy of heaven. All right, friends. God bless. Thank you for joining me this morning. Take care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.